Good morning. We can resume and complete the lesson. The last spring by Ernest Chung. Then it can be divided into two, and you know very well. And then sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage, and then I want to drive a car. So we have completed. We have revised. So we have revised. Sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage, and now we are just moving to the next topic. I want to drive a car. So while seeing I want to drive a car, there is some spirit. You can also identify that. Whenever you say that I want to know more, I want to learn, I want to drive, I want to ride, I want to learn, I want to speak, I want to write, I want to walk, I want to dance, I want to jump, I too many things. You go and ask that, the whole world says that I want to know more. Nobody is saying like that. Nobody is rejecting. That's why everybody is saying that I want to know more. More than required, we need. We know, we want. That's why they are learning. For an example, learning UG, undergraduate, 12th standard, undergraduate, and then postgraduate. Then, of course, philosophy and doctorate, like they are do too many things. That means I want to. So here I want to drive a car. You can also get an idea. I want there is some spirit, some motivation. We can take maybe the protagonist says like that. So here Mukesh insists on being his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. So another experience, her narrator Aniston's second experience when she met. So Sahibe Alam's story got over. This is Mukesh's story, another experience. So when she met, and of course he asked what he wanted to do. You understand? And he also insisted that Mukesh insists on being his own master. You know what is the meaning own master? So whatever, of course, we have to stand by our own legs. This is what all the youngsters are saying that after something they want to away from the family share, something the fathers shared. That's why I have to work, I have to stand by my own legs, and of course I have to earn the money, I have to share with my family, I have to take care of my family, look after. This is what they are always saying. That's why here I will be a motor mechanic, and of course being his own master. So I will be a motor mechanic, and answer that means that is his heart's desire. But what was the background? We have to know that. That means the situation. Do you know anything about cars? I asked because I want to drive a car. Motor mechanic. You can also underline. I will be a motor mechanic. So mechanic related, and of course that it is like dismantling and of course assembling and all those things, handling and repairing the things, all those things. That's why she asked that. Do you know anything about cars? I asked. I underline the word. So here, do you know anything about cars? Can be an input for your objective, your MCQs. You refers to, we can take Mukesh, and here I refers to the narrator, right? And his son. Likewise, so you can go for that. So do you know anything about cars? I asked. The narrator asked, I will learn to drive a car. He answers, looking straight into my eyes. So he had something, when she asked so many things to Saib Alam, he was very casual, and of course, and he never considered anything, whatever the narrator asked, but he replied in a very casual manner. But here, something, there is a different, right? There is a different, and of course different element or difference we can identify that. I will learn to drive a car. So when she asked this question, do you know anything about car? And he said that I will learn to drive a car. That was the spirit. You can also, so whenever whenever we are also being asked this question, do you know that, or will you learn, will you do, can you, the possibilities, whenever they are asking, we will also say no, I can fight. Yes, of course I have to. So for an example, driving, riding bike, riding bicycle, riding bikes, motorbikes, and of course driving cars. This is not easy, like swimming, learning swimming. So all the things we have to dedicate, something taking risk. It is like adventurous activities. When we miss the point, that's all. We will be also will be in risk. Will be at risk. That's why. But anyhow, so he answers looking straight into my eyes. That means determination. What is the meaning determination? I will learn to drive a car. And as dream looms like underline the looms means we can take spread. So spreads like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town Firozabad. So here the next story is taking place in Firozabad. So underline the word Firozabad. I already told you that what is the meaning of Firozabad and where it is situated, like a town in Uttar Pradesh, famous for its bangles. And then his dream looms, spreads like a mirage. You know what is the meaning mirage? Mirage Tamil சொன்னா காணல் நீர்னு சொல்லுவோம். இங்க இருந்து பாக்குறப்போ அங்க தண்ணி இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கும். When we are reaching that particular destination, nothing will be there. And from that, away from that particular distance, in a distance, we can at a distance, we can also see that. Again, you can see the water. That is known as mirage. காணலின்னு சொல்றது. Likewise, amidst. So among the dust of streets, that is very much dust of streets that fill his town of Ferozabad, famous for its bangles. So every other family in Ferozabad is engaged. That means that is their குலத்தொழில்னு சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, that is their profession, that is their identification. That means maybe it is related to like their caste. So every other family in Ferozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces. What is the meaning furnaces? அந்த நெருப்பு குழம்புன்னு சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, நெருப்பு அதுக்கு பக்கத்துல நீங்க furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. And of course, Ferozabad is the center, and of course it is the center of India's glass blowing. So here glass blowing industry means preparing bangles industry, right? And of course, how in way they are working, and of course working around the furnaces, and of course welding glass, making bangles in all the colors. Likewise, we can see. And Mukesh family is among them, and of course none of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures in dingy cells without air and light. That the law, if enforced, could get them and all those 20,000, so 10,000 rag pickers, 20,000 children of, we can go for bangle makers, out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylights. Slog, they are spending, they are wasting. So here slog in the sense total, it is like doing hard work. They are all engaged with that. So if enforced, the law if enforced would get them and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog, spend their holidays or spend the days, daylight hours. Totally they are spending. That means that is the thing only they know that. And often losing the brightness, that is very important. So often losing the brightness of their eyes. Mukesh's eyes being as he volunteers to take me home. So something here, and they became familiar, and that's why here, and she also asked, that means now can you bring me to your home? Likewise, when she discussed with them, and of course he was very happy, and he became a volunteer. That's why he beamed. Mukesh's eyes beam in the sense he became very happy as he volunteers. Volunteers means with interest and of course intention. Sometimes we will also invite. So with intention and of course and the interest, he volunteers to take me home. That means take the narrator home, his home, and which he proudly says it is being rebuilt. Something enough for them. Rebuild. Saying is being rebuilt in the sense. மேபி அவங்க ஊர்ல கீத்து வீடுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, இந்த குடிசைன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அதாவது பனை ஓலை இல்லைன்னா தென்னை ஓலை, மேக்சிமம் தென்னை ஓலை தான் வச்சிருப்பாங்க, இல்லைன்னா வைக்கல் அப்படின்ற ஒரு விஷயத்தை வச்சு in a systematic way. Once we had a system, right? We had house or huts like. Now we have too many things for them. When they rebuild in the sense, once again they just broke everything. Again they started. They did that. So he was very happy to share with the narrator. We walked down stinging. So here they started to walk. We walked down stinging lands choked with the garbage. It's like blocked with the garbage and past homes. That means past crushing homes that remain holes. Underline the word holes. That is very well sheds. Maybe we can small houses, small சின்ன குடிசைகளா இருக்கும், right? Halls with crumbling walls. Underline the word. What is the meaning? It's like falling, totally collapsed. So crumbling walls, wobbly doors, very weak. Maybe in தகரத்துல இருக்கும், இல்லைன்னா ஒரு வுடன்ல இருக்கும், ஸ்மால் பாக்ஸோட இதெல்லாம் வச்சு ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க. அதர்வைஸ் in a seat, we can also go for tarpaulin. So no windows, crowded with the families of humans and animals coexisting in a primeval state. So just the state, primeval, underline the word, already told you. That means very ancient. That means combined living, even domestic animals and of course family members, human beings. That means பக்கத்துலயே இருக்கும். அவங்க வீட்டு பக்கத்துலயே ஆட்டுப்பட்டி இருக்கும், மாட்டுப்பட்டி இருக்கும், பண்ணைன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. டூ மெனி திங்ஸ். கோழிக்கு பண்ணை வச்சிருப்பாங்க, அதுவும் இருக்கும், இதுவும் இருக்கும். எங்க பார்த்தாலும் அதோடைய டர்ட்டி இருக்கும். So it is like all the things, a very ancient format, primeval state. And he stops at the door of one such house, banks wobbly iron door with his foot, and of course he just pushed, and of course and pushes it open. We entered a half-built shack. This is the condition of the house, and in one part of it and touched with dead grass. What is the meaning? I already told you the eyes. So here high means we can take that in a vehicle, and it's a firewood stove over. That means once we use that, now we have, it's like butterfly or preeti and too many varieties we have nowadays. But once we had only firewood stove. ஒரு அடுப்பு களிமண்ல எல்லாம் செய்வாங்க. What is the meaning? Clay செஞ்சிருப்பாங்க and something. So here firewood stove over which sits a large vessel of sizzling, and of course sizzling spinach leaves. That's greenish. You can underline the word. And of course she was preparing on the ground in a large aluminium பாத்திரம் சொல்லுவோம், aluminum platters or more chopped vegetables. That means, that means arranged, cut, right? And of course chopped vegetables. A frail young woman, what is the meaning frail? Frail means very weak. A frail young woman is cooking the evening meal for the whole family. So through eyes filled with the smoke she smells, because she had a funnel shape something. Funnel, we are saying that there will be a pipe, like they once used a pipe to increase something. So increase or induce. It means through our mouth we will also blow like something. ஊதுவோம், அது ஊதுகுழல்னு சொல்லுவாங்க in Tamil for our understanding. And of course when she was doing that, and of course her eyes filled with the smoke, because she smiles, and of course that is what she was meant. She was meant for that. So she meant for that. So see, with the even through the eyes filled with the smoke, but she smiles and receives. She is the wife of Mukesh elder brother. So she's the wife of Mukesh elder brother, and not much older in years. While looking at that, not much older in years means it is like, child marriage we consider, because they lived in a different state, different condition. So not much older in years, and she began. Sorry, yes, of course, she has begun. Has begun. She has begun, and of course, past perfect or became. She began to comment. Simple past. She began to comment respect as Bahu, the daughter-in-law of the house, already in charge of three men in the house. So her husband, that means Mukesh's elder brother, and Mukesh's father. Three men in the house, and of course, when the older man or men enter, she gently withdraws. That means they had a system. That means custom, right? That means traditional things. Whenever the older man enters or comes in front of her, in front of them, so here she generally withdraws means she just went inside behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face. Face கூட காட்ட மாட்டாங்க. Close பண்ணி தான் வச்சிருப்பாங்க. I think we can see in Islam, right, that religion, maximum they are covering all those, even the face. Like we say, she gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil in the sense, the cloth, right? We can check, that means no cloth for covering the face. The particular system, like, Islam, they have our friends. So here brings her veil closer to her face. A custom demands, that is now, this is what I already told you, that this is the tradition they had. As custom demands, daughters-in-law must veil their faces before male elders. And in this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. So we can even Mukesh elder brother and Mukesh father also, elder man. So in this case, the elder is an impoverished. Underline the word. What is the meaning impoverished? It means totally poor, or it is like, below the poverty line. Impoverished bangle maker, despite long years of hard labor. So whatever he worked before the hard labor, first as a tailor work பண்ணிருக்கார், then a bangle maker, and he has failed to renovate. Renovate, underline the word. That means repair or something. Adapt and assault or adapt and modify or alter. He has failed to renovate a house and sent two sons to school, Mukesh and Mukesh's elder brother. All he has managed to do is teach them what he knows. That is known as the art of making bangles. அவருக்கு தெரிஞ்ச ஒரே விஷயம் bangle making. This is what he taught them, right? This is what he taught them. They also became the partners in the profession. That means art of bangle making, right? Apart from that, nobody knows anything. Nobody knew anything. So this is Karam. When she was getting all those things, the narrator was getting all those things from the family members. The Mukesh was narrating everything, and Mukesh's father was narrating everything. Even the elder brother also narrating, and of course, here Mukesh's grandmother also took part in that and explaining the things. It is very common, right? Quiet nature. Whenever we are visiting a friend's house, their parents, everyone will come and share their ideas. They will also ask us, and then our parents, and of course the parent professions, and whatever the classes and which class we are studying, like, and the way we are, how much we are getting, all those things they will verify, inquire. Likewise yours, he also came and started to take part. It is his karam, as destiny, says Mukesh grandmother. You can make underline for your objective questions. It is his karam, as destiny, says Mukesh grandmother. Who has told that? Grandma or grandpa or Mukesh or Mukesh's elder brother, Mukesh's father, anything can be. So who has watched her own husband? So that means grandma, that means Mukesh's grandfather. So she has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass bangles. Of course, based on that, this is what when I was teaching that I also brought an example, cracker factories, right? Cracker factories, even chemical factories, too many things that impact. And of course, அதனால நிறைய disease வரும். இப்போ for an example, nowadays we are using sanitizers. That also we have limitations. More than that, if we are using even the mask also, whenever it is necessary, we can wear. Otherwise, we can remove when we are alone. We don't want to use. That means, that same CO2 we are again inhaling, and of course inhaling. Likewise here, whenever we are using a foreign body, what is the meaning? What I am trying to convey is a foreign body. This is not natural, right? Something is chemical, and of course, whatever we are using, it's like sanitizer, hand sanitizer. That is also even a hand wash. We should not use often, but this is a day. This is something, it's a prime time necessity we have to use. Otherwise, we are not. We are ignoring that, right? Likewise, so continuously polishing the glass bangles so that he just, when blind. Now, what is it? Kurodaic. Can a God-given lineage ever be broken? This is why you can also underline for your MCQ. Can a God-given lineage ever be broken? C implies, C refers to grandma. Then what is the meaning like also? And then lesson's name and author's name, anything. So born in the caste of bangle makers, they have been nothing but bangles. அவங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சதெல்லாம் அவங்க வாழ்க்கையே பேங்கிள்ஸ் தான். In the house, in the yard, in every other house, every other part, every other yard, every street in Firozpur, spirals of bangles wherever you see. This is what like a painter's house, an artist's house, a teacher's house, a lawyer's house. Wherever we visit, we will come to know that. When you are visiting a mobile shop, you can see wherever mobiles cover, and then it's like panel. Too many things you can see. Likewise, even wherever you see in Ferozabad, you can see spirals of bangles, sunny gold, parry green, royal blue, pink, purple, every color burn out of the 7 colors of the rainbow. Line mount in unkempt yards means unkept yards are piled on four-wheeled and of course four-wheeled hand cart. And pushed by young men along the narrow lands of the sandy town. And of course, this is what happening every day, every night, day and night. And in dark hutments, next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps. Once we had lamp and lantern, it's a small bottle and kerosene oil. They used once. Like a flickering oil lamps, and then sits boys and girls. That means family members and next neighbors. They talk to something. While working, they gossiped. Sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers wearing pieces of colored glass into circle of bangles. They were preparing that. And it's like நீங்க பார்த்திருப்பீங்க. I think the stick பண்ணுவாங்கல்ல, fragrance with the stick. அதாவது ஊதுபத்தின்னு சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, அது பண்றதெல்லாம் பார்த்திருக்கோம். Or BD, I think though. It is like tobacco. Some of them, the family members, while sitting and preparing like that, we might have come across. It's an example I'm just bringing. So circular bangles, and their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside, and that's why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. Before becoming adults, they are losing their eyesight because they are something adjusted all those. And another example the narrator is bringing for our understanding, Savita. So here Savita, a young girl in wrappings dress, sits alongside an elderly woman, and she was just in a company, and of course accompanied with soldering pieces of glass. It means working, and she was an example. As her hands move mechanically like the tongues of a machine, it's like automatically it is working. It's not because we have practiced. Like you can go for a typewriting woman, typewriting man, or you can typewriter, you can take that. Or those who are working in a system, receptionist is just to go, their hands will be play like, right? And as her hands move mechanically like the tongues of a measure, I wonder if she knows the sanctity of bangles as she helps make. Lord Punira Menantari, sanctity means the holiness of the bangles, he helps make it. without knowing that, because she was a very younger one. She was very young girl, but we can take, she was like a child also, but she was very famous. She was experienced. That's why she worked like mechanically, like the tongues of a machine. அது மாதிரி work பண்ணுவாங்க. So that's why I was surprised to see get the things. So I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps to make. Bangles எப்பெல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க மேக்ஸிமம் மேரேஜ் டைம்ஸ்ல இல்லைன்னா பிரெக்னன்சி டைம்ல நிறைய யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. So it symbolizes an Indian woman suga. Suga means, underline that, suga means auspicious of marriage. So here auspiciousness in marriage, it will dawn on her suddenly without knowing. So since she was not reached, she didn't reach the particular path, that means destination, but anyhow it will dawn on her suddenly one day when her head is wrapped with a red veil, her hands dyed with a red, right, dyed with the red henna, madudani சொல்லுவோம்ல மெஹந்தி, and red bangles rolled onto her wrist. She will then become a bride. மணப்பொண் அப்படின்னு அது என்னன்னே தெரியாது, but anyhow she became, because of the custom, based on their community, based on their lifestyle. அவங்களாம் சின்ன சின்ன வயசுல மேரேஜ் பண்ணுவாங்க. Become a bride means மணப்பொண்ணு, bridegroom means மணமகன், right, மணமகள் and மணம். So here, like the old woman beside her who became became one many years ago, she also became one too many years ago. She still has the bangles on her hand. That means she was, that means she was a married woman. So that's all. And but no light in her eyes. There was no happiness. That's why here it works her, but Kana by nagging higher. The sense means he says, in a voice crying a joy, she has not enjoyed even one full meal in her entire life. That is what she just. That is what she has reaped. You know what is the meaning? Reaped. Underline the word means. That means result received. So after getting married also, and of course with the husband's life, and of course family life, is even she didn't enjoy 3 meals. That means enjoy 3 meals in a day. Yeah, sometimes two, sometimes one, like with aching stomach, they were going to bed. This is what their routine. So that is what she has reached. Her husband, an old man with a blowing beard, says, I know nothing except bangles. When she came to know, narrator came to see all those things. And of course, he came voluntarily. He came voluntarily to explain that I know nothing except bangles. எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சதானே நான் செய்ய முடியும். For an example, I studied only BCom. How can I work in an engineering factory like related to engineering work? So based on the education, so based on, I have completed only first and second standard. I didn't go for schools, but I know only one thing, it's a bangle making. So I know nothing except bangles. So all I have done is make a house for the family to live. I can prepare a house. I prepared a house. Hearing him, one wonders if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime. If compare பண்றதோ நிறைய பேர் வந்து even the house also they didn't prepare. So by comparing him with some of them, he is some of best, better one. Something we can take that he is the best personality. So hearing him, one wonders if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime. நிறைய பேர் அந்த ஹவுஸை கூட ரீபில்ட் பண்ணல. That's why here Mukesh, when he took her, and he mentioned very happily, and of course their house was being rebuilt, right, by that particular personality, old man, grandfather. We are taking that, like, or we can take anything, or the man we are taking. That means sorry, not grandfather. That means the old woman who was sitting next to Savita, and she was telling that, right? And of course, here he came and explained that I know nothing except Bangalore. So all I have done is make a house for the family to live. So hearing him, one wonders, and if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime, he has roof over his head. And of course, the cry of not having money to do anything except carry on their business of making bangles. Not even enough to eat. Rings in every home. That means, reflect in every home. Now close to bracket. Rings in every home means reflects in every home. எங்க பார்த்தாலும் பசி, பட்டினி, பஞ்சம். பட் தே சர்வைவல், தே ஆர் ஆல்சோ கெட்டிங் தே சர்வைவல். இன்னைக்கு நிறைய பேர் வந்து கோடீஸ்வரங்கள் மட்டும் தான் வாழ்றாங்களா, பணக்காரங்கள் மட்டும் தான் வாழ்றாங்களா, அதெல்லாம் எடுக்க முடியாது. எவ்ரிபடி ஹேஸ் தேர் ஓன். தட்ஸ் வை அப்துல் கலாம் வெரி ரைட்லி சேட், கைரேகையை பார்த்து வாழ்க்கையை கணிக்காதீர்கள். ஏன்னா கையே இல்லாதவனுக்கும் வாழ்க்கை இருக்குது. Everybody has their life, right? Likewise here. So the young men echo the lament of their elders. Little has moved with the time. It seems in Ferozabad, years of mind-numbing toil have killed all initiatives and the ability to dream. So here, not even enough to eat, and of course, rings in every home. The young men That means, the youngsters, those who are coming, the next generation, echo in the sense reflect. ஏதான் அவங்க என்ன புலம்புனாங்களோ அதே lament, புலம்புறது, lamenting. அவங்க என்ன புலம்புனாங்களோ வருத்தப்பட்டாங்களோ அதே தான் they are also doing. And of course the future generation also will come and do that. Yes, that's why the little has moved with the time. This is what happening in seems. It seems in Ferozabad. No differentiation, right? And too many years of mind numbing, underline the word totally. It's like boring, we can take that, are totally collapsing, destroying. Mind numbing, toil, more than hard work, have killed all initiative and the ability to do. So, அவங்களால வந்து ஒரு கனவு கூட காண முடியல. அவங்களால they were unable to take initiation. What is the meaning initiation? ஒரு விஷயத்தை தொடங்க ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ண கூட யோசனை பண்ண திங்க் பண்ண கூட அவங்களுக்கு வந்து knowledge இல்லை. So why not organize ourselves into a cooperative? I asked a group of men, young men, who have fallen into a vicious circle of middlemen who trapped their fathers and of course forefathers. I asked. She was unable to control herself. That's why the narrator asked, why not organize yourselves into a cooperative for your objectives, right? And who was you yourselves refers to the young men of Ferozabad, bangle makers. Why not organize you into a cooperative? I refers to the narrator, a group of young women from young men from Ferozabad who have fallen into a vicious circle. What is the meaning vicious circle? Of middlemen. That means நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க who trapped their fathers and of course forefathers. அவங்களுடைய தாத்தா இதுக்கு முன்னாடி நான் எல்லாத்தையுமே வந்து கொலாப்ஸ் பண்ணவங்க இப்போ இவங்களையும் கொலாப்ஸ் பண்றாங்க, சீட் பண்றாங்க. Even if we get organized, we are the ones who will be hauled up by the police, beaten and dragged to jail for doing something illegal. They say that's very important. So even if we get organized, you can go for your MCQs. And there is no, இப்போ அப்படி செஞ்சாலும் எங்களுக்கு ஜெயிலில் போட்டு அடிப்பாங்க. நாங்கள் ஏதோ குற்றம் தேச துரோகம் பண்ண மாதிரி எங்களை வந்து punish பண்ணுவாங்க. That's why we are not doing that. There is no leader among them. No one who could help them see things differently. That means no leaders. வர முடியல, வர விடல, அடக்குமுறை. And their fathers are as tired as they are. And they talk endlessly in spiral that moves from poverty to apathy, to greed and to injustice. That's all. அவங்களால புலம்ப மட்டும் முடியும். இன்னைக்கு புலம்புவாங்க, நாளைக்கு புலம்புவாங்க, நாளைக்கு போறாங்க. They talk endlessly in spiral that moves from poverty to apathy. Means povertyல இருந்து இன்னும் ரொம்ப கொடூரமான நிலைமைக்கு தான் போயிருக்கே தவிர no differentiation. Apathy means indifference. அவங்களோட ஸ்டேட் யாருமே மாறல. ஏன்னா nobody is there to give them something. எதுவுமே அவங்களுக்கு வித்தியாசமா differentiation காமிக்கிறதுக்கு no leaders are there. This is what. So listening to them, I see two distinct worlds, different. One of the family caught in the web of poverty. So here we can take the poverty. That means burdened. Burdened means we are taking that by the stigma. That means stigma means we can consider make a disgrace, or we can go for a mark. Here by the stigma, mark of caste. And the bangle making caste they were caught in a vicious circle in which they are born. The other first one, right? That means one அவங்களோட family background. இதனால அவங்களால வாழ்க்கையில முன்னேற முடியல. And the second one is the other is a vicious circle. Vicious means it's like poisonous circle of the sagukards. Sagukards underline the word already told you. That means the money lenders. பணம் கந்து வெட்டிக்காரங்கன்னு சொல்லுவோம்ல, money lenders. The middleman, அது இல்லாம நிறைய வந்து நம்ம I think brokersன்னு சொல்லுவோம். Another term, it's middleman, the policeman, and the keepers of law, and bureaucrats, and the politicians, everybody. Together they have imposed. That means together, all of them. And of course, with another additional thing is their caste, bangle making community. Together they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. ஒரு குழந்தையோட தோல்ல ஏற்றி வச்சுட்டாங்கன்னா சாகுற வரைக்கும் அதனால எடுத்து விடவே முடியாது. That is his destiny. This is what, right? And then before he is aware, and of course he accepts it as naturally, we are talking about Mukesh as his father. So to do anything else would mean to dare. And daring is not part of us going. அவங்களை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் டேர்னா என்னன்னு தெரியாது. What is the meaning daring? ஒரு விஷயத்தை தைரியமா எடுத்து செய்யறதுலாம் தெரியாது. That's why and daring is not part of us going on. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. I want to be a motor mechanic. He repeats. Again and again he was repeating that because he meant for that, and he was expecting that, he was longing for it. He will go to a carriage and learn. What is the meaning carriage? It's like we can go for a workshop and carriage and learn. But the carriage is a long way from his home. He has to travel, but it is not possible. I will walk. He was also repeating that, replying that, no, I will walk. That means he had that intention, determination. He insists. And do you also dream of flying a plane? Simply she asked. It is like, giving a promise, empty promise. Likewise, for the namesake, she asked that. Narrator asked, do you also dream of flying plane? And he is suddenly silent. That means he was just, he felt uneasy. And then he replied, no. He says, staring at the ground. And that means he was depressed. ஒரு மாதிரி காரே எனக்கு பெரிய விஷயம் இல்லை பிளேன் எங்க போய் you understand that? So in a small murmur, there is an embarrassment that has not turned into regret. He is content to dream of cars. That means he was expecting only driving a car to become or becoming a motor mechanic. That's all. Not it is like, overthinking. And he is content, satisfied, right? Satisfied to dream of cars. That he seems hurtling down the streets of a town. That means hurtling means and here and there, moving here and there in streets of few aeroplanes fly over Firozabad. So அவனை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் ஏரோப்ளேனை பார்க்கறதே ஆச்சரியம். But cars, okay, out of his, no, that means no, in his reach. Airplanes means out of his reach. This is what, and of course, we can understand from the lesson. Last spring, I want to drive a car. Right? Remaining tomorrow, we will discuss.